Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am, sorry about that, so happy to be back. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. If you are a returning YouTube family member, thank you so much for subscribing. I very much appreciate it. But I wanted to jump on here today and just kind of let you guys know where I've been and what the plan is for this channel. So my other channel, I know I've talked about that before. I have a makeup and vlogging channel, like lifestyle, and it is just kind of taken off. And because it's taken off, it has really kept me super busy. And so even, in addition to that, the keto diet has kind of went on the back burner for me. And we're going to get into that a little bit. Today's video is actually going to be how to get back into the keto groove after being off for at least a month. And so for me, it's been almost a couple months. And the tips I'm going to be sharing today, I want to first put it out there. I am not a doctor. I do not have like any certifications in this diet. The things I'm going to be sharing today are just things that have helped me. And I do want to say I'm going to do another video. I've been doing a lot of research on keto, doing the keto diet as you get older. Because what I have found is when I first did it about 6-7 years ago, it was so easy to lose weight. I mean, I dropped 30 pounds in like 2 months. And I'm finding that as I'm getting older and I'm doing it, I'm not getting the same type of results. So it's given me pause. And so I'm doing a lot of research right now, trying to figure out what that looks like. So I'm going to do another video that talks about, things that we need to do when it comes to the keto diet if you're over the age of 50, things to watch out for. Some things that have come to my attention already, I'm just blown away because they're things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. And so hopefully, as I continue to do more research and dig into that, I will see some changes. And so if you are over the age of 50 and you're here watching this video, next week I'm going to do a video about that. So I definitely would encourage you to come back. And I also want to say today we're going to be going over 5 tips on how to get back into ketosis after a long lull. So if you want to have some successes, then you're going to need to watch to the end. All right, so let's get started. Okay, first thing I've learned about going back onto the keto diet after being off for a while is you must, I'm going to pop it up here, slowly, gradually ease back into it. What I have done in the past is I just jump right back in to 20 grams of carbs or less, and I pay the price. And how I pay the price is I get the keto flu, I get headaches. It's a lot harder. I feel like I'm starving myself. And so what I've been learning along my journey in keto is the times where I eased back in, it was a lot easier. So my recommendation is your first week to start with 50 grams of carbs. Second week, go down to 30. And then on your third week, to that 20 to 25, because really you want to ease into it over a month. And I know that Keto Camp, if any of you follow that channel, actually link it in the description box. He talks about starting at 100 and then gradually working your way down. But I think that's more suited for, so if you're here on my channel and you've never started the keto diet, I want to encourage you to watch his video. So I will link that specific video in the description box, but go there, watch it. He talks about how to gradually ease back in, what types of stuff to add into your diet. So I encourage you to watch that. But for me, who's been doing keto off and on for the past 6 years, I'm going to start with 50. I'm going to work my way down. So that's tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2, intermittent fasting. That seems to be the only thing that works for me. Now, when I am doing keto, I do watch my caloric intake, but not as much as I think it's important to do intermittent fasting, okay? And we'll get into the caloric intake in a little bit. So intermittent fasting is very important, and I'm going to talk about this in my over 50 video, but if you are, and I'll just kind of mention this now, they say to have the bulk of your calories in the morning, because as we get older, our bodies don't process our food the same, and so have the bulk of your calories in the morning, and then as the day goes on, you start to decrease them. Excuse me, sorry. So if you're going to do intermittent fasting, which I encourage you to do, you're going to do the 8-16. I encourage the 8-16, especially when you're first starting. You can kind of lower it as you go when you become fat adapted, because when you become fat adapted, and we'll talk about that in another video, it becomes easier and easier to not eat because the fat, you're satiated. And so, and being that you've limited, how much food you're eating or the types of food, because you're not being filled up by carbohydrates, the fat foods keep you full longer. And so you're eating less, which means your stomach shrinks, and then you don't want to eat as much. But that does take some time. So definitely intermittent fasting, extremely important. Tip number 3, track your macros. What I have found is, and because I've done keto off and on for so long, that I find myself going, oh, I know what I need to eat, and I don't track. And I believe that's what's kept me from losing weight, because what happens is you get hidden carbs in there that you didn't think about, and then you end up going over your carb daily intake. So key thing, make sure you're tracking your macros. I use Carb Manager. It is free. I'll link the app in the description box. So make sure that you check that out if you're not subscribed to that, or if you don't have that app on your phone, definitely use that app. Tip number 4, and I hate even saying this, but it's extremely important that you do not have a cheat meal, a cheat day, or anything until you become fat adapted. That typically takes anywhere between sometimes 4 weeks, depending on how strict your carb intake is. So if you go right in with that 20 grams of carbs, it might only take a month. But if you're gradually leading in, it's going to take about 2 to 3 months to become fat adapted. And just so you know what fat adapted means, that's when your body is efficiently burning your fat for fuel and you aren't as hungry. And so it's easy to not eat or overeat. And so having a cheat meal doesn't really hurt you. But if you do it prior, and I only want to encourage you to do this if you are at your goal weight. So here's another thing. If you don't want to gain back all your weight, if you are at your goal weight, then what I encourage you to do, and this helps me, is all week long, so Monday through Friday, I am, strict keto, and I try to do as clean as possible. And then on the weekends, I allow myself to not go crazy, but to enjoy some of those foods that I love. So that way when Monday rolls around, I get that out of my system and I can start back up. I only encourage you to do that if you are at your weight goal. That's how you maintain your weight and make this a long-term lifestyle. That really is the only way it's worked for me long-term, is being able to give myself that. And it doesn't have to be every weekend either. So tip number 4, do not cheat within the first 2 to 3 months. Not a meal, and I hate to say cheat, but let's just say don't go over your carb goal for the day. Let's just put it that way. If you are longing to lose weight, because it's just not going to happen, and especially if you're older like myself. So that is tip number 4. Okay, tip number 5, have grace on yourself. Honestly, I talked about in tip number 4 not to have a cheat meal or a cheat day until you're fat adapted. But if you do, like it's your child's birthday and you have a slice of birthday cake, or it's your wedding anniversary, or it's your birthday, or it's a family reunion, whatever that may be, do not allow yourself to get in your own head and beat yourself up over it. You have to have grace on yourself. You have to have those moments. And, I hate that I'm saying that, but I think that's the truth. And so I know for me, weight loss is a mental thing. And I'm sure it is for so many of you that are watching this video. We battle in our own minds because we don't like the way that we look. That's why we are doing some sort of a diet. And so we can really allow our minds to take us out. There's one scripture that I hold dear to my heart in the Bible, and that's when Jesus says, what the mind believes and conceives, you will achieve. And that is true or not. If you believe you're not going to lose weight, you're not going to do it. If you believe you're going to, you are going to, and you're going to have the right attitude about it. So that is tip number 5. Have grace on yourself. Enjoy the journey. Join a support group, get involved with others that are doing the same diet so you guys can encourage each other, share, recipes, tips. I'm also going to link Christy's channel. It's called, oh my gosh, I can't even think right now. I'll link it in the description box, but she's a YouTuber that I follow, and I'm sure if a lot of you are here on my channel, you probably follow her as well. Her last name is Davis. She has a great support group there, people on her Facebook page. She has so many followers. We share tips with each other. We share our weight loss goals, our pictures. Have an accountability partner. I think that's super important. I know for me, I don't really have one. And I know that when I have had friends that are doing it with me, it's been a lot easier. So if you don't have somebody that's doing it with you, have someone that you can count on to hold you accountable. Someone that you can maybe send pictures of what you're eating that day, or send your carb manager a snapshot at the end of the day, to that person, so that you can, it's going to make you want to be more accountable to yourself, because you're going to have to send that to them. And it's embarrassing, right? To have to send that you blew it or you had a day where you fell short. So accountability partner is key, and love yourself. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you like the content here, please subscribe and click that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I upload a new video. And again, if you are over 50 and doing keto, come back next week and check out my next video. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.